Now, our guest, as you might have already guessed, has his own way with words. He once described parts of the world as bongo land, a room full of women as sluts. The last remark, however, saw him criticised from the most unexpected quarter. His own team, flatmate in Brussels and leader of Ukip, Nigel Farage, effectively threw him out of the party he'd been a big part of, synonymous with. Last year, Godfrey was the proud recipient of the Foot and Mouth Award. A spokesman described him as a wince-inducing gaff machine. Godfrey Bloom, as you look back on that, do you have regrets of any of that?
Well, no, because, as you know, I represented Yorkshire for 10 years and North Lincolnshire. We delivered, just recently, we delivered over 400,000 votes and got 3 seats. I've been the face of Ukip in Yorkshire, North Lincolnshire. I have literally thousands and thousands of emails of support, and that's been reflected in the vote. So I might upset the establishment, but I get votes.
So none of that you would, if you had your chance, none of that you would do differently?
That would be disingenuous for me to say so, because one of the reasons we did so well is because in Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire, everybody knew the name of their MEP. Couldn't say that about any other region.
Are you still friends with Nigel Farage?
Oh, yeah, we had a sherbet the other day, actually. I think you can fall out in politics or professionally without actually having to scratch each other's eyes out. So,
is he doing a good job as leader of Ukip?
Well, he's done a very good job to date as far as getting UKIP people elected. So we've had our best ever. We've come top. I got 7-1 in 2009. I made a few bob on it. I knew we would come top, and I'm very glad about that. However, we have to be frank. We have to be honest about things. 3 years ago, over 55% of the people in the country said they'd like to leave the European Union. At the moment, it's gone down to 35%. Now, I came into politics to get us out of the European Union, not to get UKIP MEPs elected. So we've actually gone backwards in the last 3 years.
Why do you think you're losing the argument?
I think because we haven't focused on the argument. We spent the entire election, and I wouldn't have done it this way, and perhaps I'd have been wrong, and you could argue I'd have been wrong. We've banged on and on and on about immigration, which has caught the popular mood, I think, at this election. But we're in danger of people saying, yes, we vote for you, yes, you're different, yes, that's fine. But when it comes maybe to Westminster, we want a bit more flesh on the bones. And I think that's something that we've ignored. And if we continue to ignore it, we'll ignore it at our peril. I'm not altogether comfortable with the Nigel Farage's UKIP party. He didn't found the party. I didn't work as hard as I have done to advance any individual's political career. I'm in this for the benefit of my country.
Is there a danger that the Newark by-election result, where UKIP came a good second but did not get as big a share of the vote as they got in Eastleigh, is there a possibility that that's a turning point, that UKIP has now peaked and Newark is the beginning of a decline?
It's a warning signal. Newark was a warning signal, in my view, and it flagged up the fact that on the doorstep you have to have more to say than immigration. You have to say, what do you believe in quantitative easing, government spending, the NHS, banks, taxation, so on and so forth. And at the moment we haven't done, and we haven't done that for 2 or 3 years. One of the reasons I was slung out, and let me assure you, it's got nothing to do with that, is that I fell foul of UKIP 2 years ago, because I wanted to start focusing on the issue, on other issues, and that was closed down. So that was an excuse to get shot of Godfrey Bloom, and fair enough.
Nigel Farage is in the process of trying to put together a grouping in the European Parliament at the moment, because a kind of secretariat comes with that, some money, status comes with that as well. He's ruled out Marine Le Pen's National Front from France being part of that grouping. Is he right?
No, I think he's wrong. I think if you believe in freeing your country from the European Union as a core value, and I do, if that's your mission statement, I think I would quote Churchill and say, I would make a pact with the devil himself to keep my country free, which is why we had a pact in the last war with the Soviet Union, one of the most evil regimes that we've ever known, with Stalin. But that was to save our country and save Western democracy.
But at a time when UKIP is trying to shake off accusations of racism and also try to explain some of the rather unusual remarks of some of its activists, would doing a deal with a party that certainly has a racist past and an anti-Semitic past as well, and still has racist activists within it, however much Madame Le Pen may have tried to clean it up, wouldn't that just confirm everybody's worst fears about UKIP?
I think it would be something that the metropolitan journalistic bubble would latch onto for a week or two, but the earthquake in politics could have come. The grouping could have been the third biggest in the European Parliament, where real political clout could have been brought to bear. Don't forget, Beppe Grillo wouldn't do a deal with UKIP because he said we were racist, or his members think we were racist.
They're still talking, though, now.
Yeah, and Marine Le Pen wouldn't do a deal with some people because she said they were racist. It's a fairly mature...
Would you do a deal with Golden Dawn as well in Greece?
No, but because I think... because we don't need to. But I think Marine Le Pen, whatever you think about her, has come back with a very significant following, millions of voters. I'm not saying I don't agree with anything from her background.
My old dad used to say, if you lie down with dogs, you get fleas.
Your old dad was in the war, Andrew.
Yes.
And was he glad or sad about the support of the Soviet Union in the war?
He didn't really know much about it in North Africa.
Okay, but I can tell you what, if it's in North Africa, an awful lot of troops...
But that would then apply to Golden Dawn, and you're saying that is rightly beyond the pale.
I don't think it's even remotely correct to associate the two. I think if you... And you must have met Marine Le Pen, of course, mustn't you?
Yes.
Yes, you've taken her. I think she's a perfectly rational man, and I don't think you visit the sins of the father upon the daughter.
Does Nigel Farage have a temper that we don't see in public?
I wouldn't say that he has more of a temper or less of a temper than anyone else, particularly, no.
Should he be more careful about who he's holding hands with late at night?
Well, I think perhaps if I was his old dad, I'd say I'd be a little more circumspect perhaps than he is, but that's the pot calling the kettle black with me, isn't it?
And should he try and make UKIP less of a one-man band?
If he doesn't do that, the party will certainly fail, and I've told him. The presidential style is un-English, it doesn't work, and it's actually having... You know, UKIP's got plenty of talent. UKIP isn't short of talent. They've got to be allowed on shows like this.
Well, we've had Paul Nuttall on.
I know you have.
Several others.
That wasn't a criticism of this show. It's what I'm saying. It's a criticism...
Just very briefly,
forward.
What, as things stand at the moment, how many seats, if any, do you think UKIP will get come the general election?
I think if we go back to our classical liberal roots, the radical roots, and we actually put something in the shop window people want, we should get a few seats. If we don't change, we're going to get no seats.
All right. OK.